She's going up against Tecia Torres, who's looked good as of late, had a 4-fight losing streak, now a 3-fight winning streak. She's Mackenzie Dern, kind enough to join us for a few minutes at the top of the program. Let's go to Mackenzie, who's in Jacksonville, Florida. Hello, Mackenzie. How are you?
Hey, Ariel. Nice to see you. Nice to talk to you again.
Yes, as always. You know what, Mackenzie? You know what's crazy about this situation with you? Obviously your last fight didn't go your way. I feel like you're doing as much media going into this fight as the headliners. I feel like it didn't hurt your popularity. It didn't hurt your stock. Nothing like that. Are you surprised that, the loss? Yeah, it was, I'm sure devastating. You were bummed, but it still seems like people want to hear from you, want to talk to you, and you're still as popular.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of people ask me, what do you think of like the media to be main event? Actually, it was the same as before, so I've always had a lot of media. But yeah, of course, I'm not happy I got the loss, but man, it was fight of the night. I tried to do a lot on the ground. It's just when you get to the top, you can't make a mistake,
Right.
And obviously Marina, she's very strategic. She's good. She's experienced. And, I was one step behind in the fight and I got to be one step ahead. So that's definitely my goal this weekend is just stay ahead, put the pressure and get my wins back.
By the way, why do you think you've always had a lot of media attention?
I don't know. I think I had a lot of following just from coming the jiu-jitsu community, so a little bit different from the other girls. Like I didn't start just zero in MMA and trying to build my name. I kind of came in with a lot of the whole jiu-jitsu community basically behind me. And then I think being half American, half Brazilian, that called a lot of attention. And yeah, I don't know really more than that. I think that's what it is.
Your father as well, right? Famous father, daughter of a famous father, that probably helped, especially back in Brazil. Did you, in retrospect, did the pressure, not the media, but the pressure of being in your first main event, did that affect you at all? I don't want you to make excuses, all that stuff, but big deal, first main event, wasn't in front of a big crowd, it was at the Apex, but still, you're on the marquee, you're on the bill. In retrospect, did any of that get to you?
No, honestly, it didn't feel like it was a main event. The biggest thing was the 5 rounds, it's just like, okay, we have 2 more rounds extra, and that was the biggest thing that I felt as in main event, but pressure or anything like that. I didn't feel like, oh man, I need to win this because it's a main event or anything like that. Definitely a lot of, the media people were like, oh, if you win this, you think you'll go fight for the title? So I think that was kind of getting me like a little bit, oh man, so really people are like pushing me to go for the title after this fight. But I think they would have pushed that even if it was co-main event or, just on the regular card, So yeah, I didn't feel the pressure in that way or anything like that. Just, I think really with my fight in Marina, I was so focused on trying to show I'm getting better with my striking, trying to show I'm getting better. I'm ready. I'm all these things and thinking about all the critics and thinking all these things when I need to not care about that. You can't care. Just go and be, man, when I was fighting LFA and Legacy, I was like going forward and just getting the person to the ground, like not even caring about my technique and nothing. And that's what people want to see, think about if I do that now, but with all my training, with the coaches, with Perillo, everything he's been working on, it's going to flow. It's going to come, so just trust it, don't be second guessing everything. So that's what I'm focused on. And I think that was my biggest, like my mind, being a perfectionist and letting all the critics kind of get to you a little bit and just trying to prove everyone wrong, So I think that was my biggest like mess up in how I think I matured so much from my loss against Marina now to fighting Tecia.
How close were you to not fighting against Marina? How close were you to pulling out of that fight?
Man, it was like Monday before Sunday and Monday. I got an MRI on Saturday and then I didn't get the results until Monday because of Sunday. And I can't say I was that close. I cried a little bit. I was thinking like, man, thinking what people say, and thinking these things, thinking about the pressure on myself. Like, okay, if I go and I lose, I don't want to have that be be the reason why I lose. I don't want to have that regret, like say, oh, it's because of that or anything like that. I believe I can win. So, I don't think I was too much, but definitely was something I talked to my dad, he's my coach my whole life, so he was definitely the person that I really just talked to and say like, what do you think? And we decided like, let's go, I can beat her like this, but I definitely had to take like the whole week off just to get it to calm down, and be ready to fight. And I definitely went into the fight physically wise good, everything's good. Just Marina is so experienced, and you can't, like I said, you can't be a step behind. You need to be ahead.
And for those that don't know, what was the issue that you were battling? You were battling a knee issue, right?
Oh, knee, yeah. I had a knee meniscus tear for my knee. Like the Friday before, I had a sparring, my last sparring, before. So it was good. I mean, honestly, I fought good. I fought like not 100%, but 95%, physically wise, I was good. I could have won the fight. And I took 2 weeks off after the fight to see if I can do like rehab, and then my first training back, it completely just locked, and I couldn't walk anymore. So, you try to push through things, but it gets worse. So it's almost just better to get it taken care of. And now I'm 100% like, man, I'm so happy I got the surgery done. And yeah, it's part of the life. The fight is life.
So, okay, so I was just going to ask you, you had the surgery, it was all good, and I guess that's why it's been 6 months since you last fought, even though it feels like it was like 2 months ago, that fight. Time has flown by, right? It's a crazy thing. And I know as a mom, probably you look at your child and you're like, holy smokes, where has the time gone, right? Everything just moving so fast in your life. And so now you get a shot to rebound against Tecia Torres on a very big card, on a pay-per-view card. So you're back in front of the fans, which I'm sure you're excited about. Do you find a difference, by the way? Like, do you care, fans, no fans? Yeah, it feels different?
Yeah, it's totally different. I think that fighting at the Apex, with no fans is something that all the fighters should have experienced, because it's a different type of adversity, just trying to keep that focus. You're hearing like, DC saying like, man, she looks tired. Oh man, that looked like that hurt. And you're like, man, that didn't hurt, and just really trying to keep your focus, and you can just kind of hear everything. It's trying to get that adrenaline into you when it feels like just a day at sparring, you know what I mean? And, it's good. I felt like I was really able to kind of work my technique and things like that. But man, there are those things that the crowd really brings out you when you just need to show heart, And so I'm so happy to be back in front of a crowd, being at the hotel, that vibe, that whole like week of fight week where you're seeing the other fighters, and you're kind of just really focusing. And that's what I've missed so much. We're here because of the fans, I'm who I am because of the fans. So to be back in front of the fans, that's great. I'm so happy and I'm excited.
So DC is to blame. He kind of made you start overthinking things.
No, he was the first one that came to my mind. I just picked him out.
He was talking about you being tired, and you heard and saying that things hurt, and you were thinking about you could hear him that clearly, huh?
all of them. I have something on all of them. They all said stuff.
Wow. They were critical. They were too critical in your eyes.
Yeah, too much, man. What the heck?
What the hell? We need to call him right now. Do you feel like it was unfair criticism?
No.
Come on, Mackenzie. You can tell us the truth. Unfair. They were taking shots? They weren't calling it both ways?
No, it was good. It was good.
All right, fine. You don't like any. You don't.
It's part of the game.
Yeah, it's
part of the game.
How are you so nice? How are you so smiley, so nice when it's part of the game? People are criticizing you. You put all your hard work, all your effort into this, and none of it phases you. Does anything bother you in this game? Does anything get under your skin?
Man, because that's what I was saying. It's like, man, not that it gets underneath me, bothering me, but like in my fight with Marina, I'm thinking so much like, you go on the Instagram and like everyone's kind of tagging you and things, and then you see the stuff like, oh yeah, so I think that Tecia's going to win this fight because Mackenzie, she looks so sloppy and so this and that, and okay, you see one, you see two, but you start to see like 10 people saying the same thing, and that starts to stick out to you, and then you start feeling like, man, I want to show them that I'm not sloppy, but who cares if I'm sloppy? If I win, Sure. It's like, man, if I'm going forward and I'm getting the takedown, like really you're going to care if I'm sloppy, if I'm winning the fight, So it's just kind of like, not that I get mad, but you let it get to you and you want to try and prove them wrong. But when you start to be too perfect, no one's perfect, It's like, man, you don't see, even the champions, they're not perfect, they trust in their training, and they trust that it comes naturally, they're not thinking about it. It's flowing, Yep. As soon as you start to flow, and I have that flow. I know I have that flow. I train like that, all my training partners, my coaches, they know I'm there. It's just bringing that into the fight now and not letting the critics get to you. Not that I get mad. It's really hard to get me mad, Ariel. It's
I can tell.
They can talk they can talk about like whatever, you know, but it's really hard to get me mad. But to like not try and like prove them wrong or something like that. That's why like I'm trying to get better at.
But I did read that you said recently that like still the top, like when are we going to get over the weigh-in stuff? You haven't had any issues, and that still plays like on your, you know, like your psyche. You're still worrying about it to the point where you feel like you're doing too much just because you don't want to go through that again. So that still has stuck with you after all these years?
Yeah, so actually, like they just had another article that came out, and the article was like Mackenzie Dern is worried about being underweight now, you know, and I'm like, man, look, like now my problems. I'm like the other fighters are probably like, oh my gosh, look what she's complaining about, you know. I'm like, it's so stupid. But actually, I until my last fight with Marina, I fought at 116 pounds, and that's the weight we weigh in at, you know. So definitely. I don't want to come into this fight being 116. My goal is to be like 122, 123. But I got so low on the last fight because, you know, I'm just like freaking out. You know, I don't want to go through like the suffering. I don't want to go through, you know, thinking it's going to come off. And then the last day it doesn't come off, you know, even though everyone's like, man, your body's different. You're totally different than back, you know, back at UFC Rio when I fought, you know, and in my other fights. So it's like now the trauma, I guess, is kind of taken over of me coming in too low, you know? So now my goal is just to like, I'm really holding my weight and just trying not to get down too low. And I want to weigh in at 116, you know? I'm not like, I weighed in at 114.5 against Marina. I don't want to weigh in at 114 at championship weight. My goal is to weigh in at 116 because I want to come in strong, you know? It's like all those little things I understand now make a difference, you know? And it's the playing field is so similar when you get to the top, you know, everyone trains hard. Everyone's, you know, has their specialty and things like that. So yeah, I definitely want to make sure I'm at least a good weight. I don't need to go up so heavy, but the weight that I feel good in sparring, you know, 122 is like my weight that I'm still agile and, you know, strong. And so that's my goal now, you know, it's not to, so I'm glad that my bad experience of coming in under, it kind of took over my trauma. But until my last fight, it was still in my head, the trauma, you know, even like sweet sweat. Oh, that's like the bad smell, you know, you're like, oh, that's bad memories, you know, and
no.
bathtubs, no, you know.
Now you don't have to do any of that.
No.
Oh, that's great. That's amazing.
Yeah.
From your perspective, I said, you know, she had lost 4 in a row and now she won 3 in a row. Nice little turnaround for her. What's been the difference from what you see? What is she doing differently now? What is she doing better now that she wasn't doing during that losing streak?
You know, like, so I started to notice more Tecia on her winning streak. You know, we fought on the same card before, you know, so I didn't, now actually for the fight, I went through and watched like all her fights, you know, but I know that most of her losses were just to like former champions or the champions, you know what I mean? So she's a tough fighter, man. Tecia, she's fast. She has good volume. She's quick. She has good footwork. But honestly, I think she just didn't respect the girls that she's beating. You know what I mean? I think she just like overwhelmed them and didn't care and just kept overwhelming them and didn't let them really get the rhythm in the fight, you know? And that's what I feel like with the fights that she lost, she kind of was respecting, you know, Zhang Weili, Rose, and a little bit on the more safe side. And I think with someone that she has so many decisions, it can kind of just go either way. I don't think she lost so bad, you know, with close fights. And I don't think, well, actually her wins have been like just kind of, you know, pressuring and, you know, overwhelming the girls, you know. So definitely thinking this confidence that she is coming in with on her last fights has just been like getting more and more and just like, yeah, I'm going to come forward and just be the tiny tornado that she is, you know. So that's the fight I want to fight, you know. I want to fight the one that's going to bring that out of me and take me to the next level. And I think that's I'm so happy to be fighting her with this confidence that she has, you know, because I want to take it away from her.
Yes, I like that. I like that fire, Mackenzie. She's never been stopped. All her losses are via decision. Is that something you care about? You could be the first one to stop her, submit her, probably.
Yes, 100%. That's definitely what I care about. You know, I'm like, man, I want to be the first one. You know, I think that will be a big statement if I can get it, because out of all the girls she's fought, like I said, she's fought the champion, ex-champion, former champion. She's been the pioneer of the strawweight division, you know? So it's like she's fought so many girls and no one's been able to finish her. If I can get that, I think that's definitely a big statement. And I just want to catch up to like Charles DeBronx on submissions, most submissions in the UFC. You know, I know he has a lot of years ahead of me, on me, But yeah, that's my goal, to make my own legacy in the UFC, and definitely getting that first finish on Tecia's is on there as part of it.
I saw that you did an interview with the New York Post and they asked you what your favorite movie was, and you said The Last Dance, which kind of surprised me. Why that?
Yeah. Man, it's like episodes, right? It's like a documentary.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know. I really inspired by Michael Jordan. I like his story. I think the way that he's competitive and kind of just focused, I can relate a lot to it, and people I feel like they can connect to me. So I saw the Dennis Rodman one. I don't know if you saw the Dennis Rodman one.
Yeah.
And then I saw the Michael Jordan, and it's how they both accomplished so much, and just the styles differently, how they, one is like maybe the other club, but no one is really, everyone just kind of puts him on a pedestal like Michael Jordan, like, oh, they don't really talk. And Dennis Rodman, everyone can be like friends with him. He's very like, he can connect to the people. And I just kind of trying to find who I am as a fighter, as, who I am to the people, and kind of just finding my brand. And I really enjoy like the Michael Jordan style, and just how he, I saw him get emotional in the documentary, and it really touched me, like that people kind of had these things, and you can tell that like he doesn't like when people see him that way, when he really just wants to be the best, and even just the way he said, like, people kind of judged him about not taking a stand, I think, for an African American politic, and he said like, yeah, politician, he said like, man, I don't think that's not the reason why he's here. His thing is to compete, to be the basketball, so if people relate to his story, great, if not, that's okay. Maybe that's not his story for them to relate to, so I felt like that, like, oh, I don't need everyone to like me, I don't need, not everyone's going to relate to me, but whoever does, if they can relate to my story, that's awesome. If not, hey, no problem, there's no problem. So really, I enjoy it. I watch it all the time, and hopefully I can meet him one day.
That would be, yeah. I'm sure a lot of people would love to meet him. It's very inspiring for someone in your position, I bet. I wonder, I remember when you made your debut, people were so tough on you when you came over from jiu-jitsu to MMA. Were you ever close to quitting, to saying like, I don't want to deal with this type of criticism, this isn't very fun?
Yeah, for sure. Like, man, do I really want to stay in here? Like, can't I, I was making good money in jiu-jitsu, I was doing seminars every weekend, super fights. Was like, I wasn't on the end of my jiu-jitsu career, I was just in the beginning of my jiu-jitsu career. So it was really hard for me to leave the jiu-jitsu career, try something new, kind of go back to being a white belt, and then to have all these people just be like, through my mistakes, oh, she's not taking serious, and sure, I wasn't taking it as serious as I am now. I was just kind of enjoying the fame and like, oh, okay, I fight, got some good payday. Let me go party, do this and that, But man, let me just go back to jiu-jitsu where, I've been world champion. I know what I need to do to win again. I have a comfortable lifestyle doing jiu-jitsu, that's fine. I don't know if I want to, the training for MMA, I think, is way harder than jiu-jitsu. You literally have to train like with injuries, and just like it hurts just to train MMA. Every day you're getting hurt. It hurts to get punched in the face. At least me, I spar all the time. So it's not. I don't do it all because I'm happy and this and that. Because man, if I just lost with Marina, I wasn't happy. I trained like 2 months to be sad in the end. Like, is it worth it? But then you start to see like, and even if I win, okay, I'm happy the moment. I'm happy for maybe a week later. But then all of a sudden, okay, let's schedule the next fight. And then it's out the door, Right. So, the more I start like, okay, let me do another one. Let me try to get better and see if I can get better. And then I start to see, okay, no, I am getting better. Okay, no, relax. You're doing better. You're doing better. And you start to talk to more athletes and more fighters, and you start to see more stories. There's stories like Rose, who got to the title and then she lost it and then she got it again. And you see like, man, Charles de Bronx, who's been like so many years, and finally he got to the belt, and now he's doing the best he ever has at the belt. And you see like how everyone has their own story and their own process and their own journey. And that's what's so beautiful about it. And now my idea to go on MMA was just to fight, get the belt, and go back to jiu-jitsu. Now I'm like, oh no, I think I'm going to stay in MMA for a while, so definitely falling in love with it. That I definitely passed the phase where I thought about quitting, going back to jiu-jitsu, but now I'm in it for the long run, and I'm so happy about that.
Do you think you'll ever go back to jiu-jitsu?
Oh yeah, for sure. If I don't have a fight, MMA fight, like, because I'm getting close, so I don't want to take too much off, my MMA right now. I'm getting close to the belt, I'm not there yet, but I'm at a very, like, I think important phase of my career. But if I ever have like, I don't know, 3 months time or something, 4 month time, I like to do maybe go back and do an ADCC appearance, Abu Dhabi World Pro, do some super fights. Man, I was training a lot actually in the gi for this fight, you know? So it's like coming back, I'm like, man, it's so good to have those grips and just to, you know, to flow. And yeah, I love it. You know, it's my favorite.
Well, it's always great to talk to you, Mackenzie. You have more media to do, so I'm going to let you go. Good luck to you this weekend. I look forward to seeing you at 100% health, right? No knee issues this time.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Seeing if you can give Tecia her first loss via submission. That would be quite the feather in your cap. So good luck to you. Appreciate the time as always. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks so much, Ariel. Always good talking to you.
Yes. Obrigado. There she is, Mackenzie Dern, kind enough to join us, and a big fight for her